Welcome back to Hillbilly Pillars. We've reached the big dogs, the top 10 favorite albums of my lifetime so far. I've really enjoyed doing this breakdown and I'm excited to get to these because these are the big ones. We'll start off at number 10 on this countdown segment with the oldest album in all of my top 25, and that is 1959's Gunfighter Ballads and Trail Songs by Marty Robbins. This album wields more of my hot takes than any other album does. I think it is easily one of the most underappreciated albums in all of recorded music. Anytime you see these all-time great lists and it's usually not there, and if it is way too low. This is a piece to me with any considered all-time great album. I do really feel it belongs, alongside Pet Sounds, or insert any of those, Highway 61, any of those 60s coming after this albums, modern day masterpieces like OK Computer, whatever it may be. Gunfighter Ballads belongs alongside this, I think. It is the hallmark of an entire genre of music, of Western songs. It is one of the greater songwriter albums, in my opinion, ever. Marty Robbins penned a number of these songs on the record, including, and this is another hot take of mine, the two side openers, which for my taste is as strong as any album has. Side A starts with Big Iron, and side B starts with El Paso. And continuing on my hype train, I know, I got strong feelings about Gunfighter Ballads. If I were like in charge of the Smithsonian or whatever, and I had to assemble like a list of 20 perfect American songs, El Paso would be one of them. I just want to read, I'm just going to read a brief section of a write-up Bob Dylan did in his book, The Philosophy of Modern Song, about the song El Paso. This is right towards the close of his write-up. You should read the whole thing. You should read the whole book. It's great. But Bob says, eventually when the field cleared and the opportunity arose, Marty delivered this, a song called El Paso that resonates on every level with people on every level. People talk about message songs, starting with Woody Guthrie and right up through the 60s. But El Paso is the ultimate message song, and reflective words would only hope to scratch the surface. It is so complex, yet it is so simple in its construction. This is a dark tale of indescribable beauty and death. It is an all-time identifiable sound to an album. Whenever a song pops up from this, you know exactly what you're listening to. And because of the nature of that, and because it is so great, it is also one of the all-time needle drop albums. You can pull any song off this album, stick it into a TV show moment or movie show moment, and enhance what's being presented. There are plenty of examples of this. Probably the most famous in modern times is the use of El Paso in a pivotal scene in the entire series of Breaking Bad, one of the all-time critically acclaimed TV shows. It's hard to say too much about Gunfighter Ballads and Trail Songs. I laugh. I have a few what I consider all-time favorite genres of music. And one of them is simply Marty Robbins doing Western songs. I've got a great Bear Family vinyl collection. It's a 5 LP record, and it's Marty Robbins sings the songs of the Wild West, something along that line, and it gathers together the vast majority of Western songs that Marty recorded. So yeah, I just can't emphasize it enough. If you're not familiar with it, my goodness, take a turn on Gunfighter Ballads. If you know it, but you just kind of, it's this niche thing that's kind of, I don't know, maybe kind of way the country can get, like, it's kind of got a corniness or something. No, This is life and death, and like the best John Ford Western you've ever seen, audio version. And yeah, check it out. You won't regret it. That was number 10. Number 9, another country music giant. It is 1980 with Merle Haggard and Back to the Barrooms. Look at this guy. Look at that wood paneling. Look at that big old hat. You don't want to end up in this guy's chair. That's what the songs on this album teach you. To me, this is Merle's best album. It is my favorite Merle album. I could hear arguments for Serving 190 Proof, but to me, it all comes together in this. It is Merle at the peak of his powers, and probably at one of the lowest points in his life, as reflected in the music. There may be other albums better to drink to, like listening to while you've had, way too much, way too many. But there are no better albums about drinking. For sure. This is it. This is number 1. Then Back to the Barrooms. You have, it starts off with Misery and Gin, song pen for Robert Redford film. Has Back to the Barrooms again, the title track. Side A ends with I Don't Want to Sober Up Tonight. And side B closes with I Think I'll Just Stay Here and Drink. A perennial showstopper for all the years Merle was out there on the road. The sound and production is clean. The songs are fantastic. It's got one of, to me, just one of those songs in country music where I'm like, I can't believe this hasn't permeated the culture more, and that is Makeup and Faded Blue Jeans. It's a fantastic Merle song. He does a version of someone else's song, other songwriters, called Ever Changing Woman, and it's got this line I'll never forget. I always wear a t-shirt and a jacket just in case that woman's running hot or cold. We know about that, Merle. We know about that. And it just doesn't miss from top to bottom. This is one of those where, I got people I know and friends who are like, yeah, I like alternative country, or, or I like the Byrds, or, the Flying Burrito Brothers, which I like those things too, but don't be scared. This is as good, if not better. This guy right here in this album, it'll get you. So don't be scared just because it is straight country music. This is an awesome, awesome album. 1980s Back to the Barrooms. Number 9. Woo! I'm already feeling the weight. Number 8. The most personal record on my list, which I'm about to tell you why. Willie Nelson's Red-Headed Stranger, 1975. My father owned about 5 albums, but he only ever listened to one. And it was this one that I recall. My brothers say, I remember occasionally. I'm like, I don't ever remember this. And it was inevitably when he'd had a few beers too many on a Friday or Saturday night. This would come on, and we could hear it down the hallway of our home, loud and clear, to the point of where I knew every note of this album by the time I was 10 years old, simply from vicariously listening to all the times that my father would play it. My father was kind of he's 87 now, and your typical hardworking, he was the breadwinner man, and he was in textiles, a dying industry. And it was always he kind of seemed like a robot to his work to me, except for this. So this was always this beautiful way that I knew my dad was alive, was that he would want to get lost in the story of the crimson-haired preacher who goes on a killing spree after getting cheated on by his woman, and then on side B, searches for and hopes to find redemption from that treachery. And I understand other best ofs as far as Willie albums. Phases and Stages is hard to argue with. That's an incredible album. Texas Monthly did and has an ongoing comprehensive ranking of all of Willie Nelson's albums, which, if you know, that's nuts. I am pretty sure the count now is somewhere in the ballpark of 150. My older brother is close to a Willie completist on CD. But that's a nuts ranking. He disagrees with a lot of it, but I mean, the top 10 are pretty pretty close, and they have phases in stages number one, and you can understand that. But give me this, and I guess if I had a hot take for Redheaded Stranger, side A of Redheaded Stranger, it's kind of got a cheat code because it is, you know, a concept, and the full story is kind of encapsulated in this first side. I would take side A into Fight Club for the greatest side ever. I would feel good in that. I have others that I think might be right on par for how I feel about it, but I would like my chances. It's like I mentioned earlier, note to note, flawless. Note to note, flawless suite of songs. So yeah, woo! That was number 8. Do I really have 7 albums above Redheaded Stranger? I guess I do. Number 7, the third and last time he can pop up on my list, because that's a limit I gave myself for any one artist. And that is Weed & Fleece, or Vedon, I always forget, unless I can start singing the song to myself, by Van Morrison, 1974. This is it. This is Van Morrison's best album. I feel pretty great about saying that. I know Astral Weeks. I don't think I'm coming at a hipster take with this. I just feel like this is the most comprehensive of big, searching, spiritual songs alongside, you know, just straight kickers. And his singing has never been better. I adore it. This was a great reissue that came out via Vinyl Me Please, and I'm really grateful they did that. It's kind of hard to find, you know, the original pressing. But starts off with the song Fair Play. It's a slow piano, and that's it. To me, that's, you know, the opening song is always so important, but it is essential for this. Usually Van likes to kick it off with a you know, an R&B jammer, like on St. Dominic's and Into the Music, you know, just real upbeat, you know, 2-3 minute R&B banger. Not here. It is slow, and then that whole first side pushes, and then side B starts out with what I consider one of his all-time great unheralded songs, and that's Bulbs, and that does do that. That's a kicker. But from the beginning to the end, this is in my opinion the best Van record, and just should be an essential thing in anyone's collection. That's number 7, Weed & Fleece. Now number 6, The Spirit of 18-Year-Old Me. It's kind of like a man has to have a code, and genuinely, as much as anything did, outside of just my parents raising, this album presented to me a code to live by, and that is Darkness on the Edge of Town by Bruce Springsteen. What can you say about this 1978 album? To me, once again, you're getting up here, and, you know, I make arguments versus, once again, this list is favorites, but I would say this is Springsteen's best album as well. And it just, it has a dark underbelly to it and a brooding sound that was discussed so well in the documentary that was done about it. You have the mixer, Chuck Plotkin, who came in and kind of saved the day, and he talks about just being able to get Bruce's voice right below the surface, where you have to really tune in to hear what you're saying through kind of like the almost violence of some of the music that's in these songs. But it has fundamental Springsteen staples. I've told the story about you know, when Bruce Springsteen, they went on their reunion tour, and, you know, this was at a time I came from, a time where I got into him after he broke up with the E Street Band and was fans with him long enough where I was kind of one of those people who's like, I missed this part of his career, and I will never get to see him with the E Street Band. And, well, I don't know that way, you know, nearly 30 years later, doing E Street Band tours, I couldn't have been more wrong about that. But at the time, you didn't know. And when he got the band back together, as they say, Badlands and The Promised Land were obvious staples in the vast majority of his shows. They were highlights and pins. And for those two to kick off each side of the album, I think kind of says it all. The album closer as well, Darkness on the Edge of Town, I think is maybe the statement piece in Bruce's catalog. Shit is hard. Shit has kicked your ass, but you still have to fight for the things you want in life. And yeah, this one, when I was 18, driving down a back road to get to the beach to work at a miniature golf course when I was going to community college in Panama City. This one was way up loud in my 77 Camaro. And I'll carry, all these albums obviously in this top 10 will carry with me forever, but I'll always carry Darkness on the Edge of Town with me. So yeah, there we go. Some big ones. We have Marty Robbins and Merle Haggard and Willie Nelson and Van Morrison and Bruce Springsteen. Whoo! To get 10 through 6. So that only leaves 5. If you know me, there's one artist noticeably absent so far. So get ready for a heaping helping load of that guy in my top 5. But there's also a few others. And so I will bring that to you next time when I close out my list of my favorite albums of my lifetime so far. Thanks.